Hi there, my name is Scott Schaefer, and I am speaking to you from my new office here in Southwest Austin, Texas. It's the first time I've done a Facebook Live from my new office, and happy Halloween, everybody. Hopefully today's topic is not scary for any of you, and what I wanted to talk today about is the topic of triggers for compulsive behavior and ways to cope with them. And people get triggered by all kinds of things. People get triggered by scary events. People get triggered by positive things. But one of the important things to remember is and understand is what triggers are, because what they are is they are things, events, either external or internal to the person, that can cause people to either start engaging in compulsive behaviors, or more often to return to compulsive behaviors that they have become ingrained in them. And this is one of the banes of people's existence, who consider themselves to have compulsive behaviors either through substance use or process addictions, which are basically things like gambling, compulsive shopping, sex addiction, other behaviors that people complain about as being things that they habitually engage in that make them miserable, even though initially they're things that they've sought out because they give them pleasure and joy. And one of the typical experiences that can trigger people is something like the experience of losing. Winning can do that too, but when people lose, they can seek out compulsive behaviors to somehow, as like a balm or something to help to assuage the pain of losing. But anything can conceivably be a trigger, even something like winning and being successful, because to the extent that people with compulsive behaviors don't know how to cope with success, they can go back to those behaviors as a way to kind of recalibrate or get back to normal, as it were. So what I like to talk about for the rest of the time that I have with you today is how to cope with triggers, because there's a myriad of ways to cope with triggers that help keep people avoid falling back into compulsive behaviors. And one of those has to do with the connection with other people, and oftentimes calling a friend or a trusted family member after someone's been triggered is a way to help them to get a reality check on what it was that triggered them in the first place, and to either put it in perspective and help them get past it, or to help them make them aware of other alternatives that are healthier for them instead of relapsing or going back into compulsive behavior. Another valuable coping skill for triggering behaviors or triggering experiences is journaling. When people write down all their thoughts and feelings that go with the reaction that they have to a triggering event, it often helps them put it into perspective so that they're no longer inclined to act out on that compulsive behavior after they've done some journaling about it. And the idea is to keep writing until you come to a neutral or positive place, and then you know you're probably ready to move on and do something else, and you're not inclined to go back to the compulsive behavior. A lot of people who have compulsive behaviors and addictions benefit from going to support groups like 12-step groups such as AA. And oftentimes when people are triggered and they go to these meetings, they are able to get a more healthy perspective on what it is that's bothering them, and be able to put it more into context and get the social support they need, not unlike calling a friend, that helps them to avoid, revert, or relapse into compulsive behavior. Another key coping technique for being triggered is substitution. If somebody substitutes a positive behavior for a negative behavior, for example, if I have an upset with my partner, my spouse, and I'm inclined to act out in compulsive behavior, I know one of the things that can be important to do is something positive, like the next coping behavior, which is exercise. I might substitute exercise for what otherwise might be acting compulsively, picking up a cigarette or something like that. Or I could use some deep breathing. And if I have a ready list of those substitution behaviors, then I'm less inclined to go back to the addictive or compulsive behavior, that I otherwise would have gone to. And again, that gets me to my fifth key coping technique for dealing with triggers, which is exercise. A lot of people need stimulation, and one of the ways they seek stimulation can be through addictive behaviors, but one of the healthy ways to get stimulation and to get a particular level of physiological activation that some addictive behaviors would otherwise provide is through exercise. Vigorous exercise gives people a level of stimulation that otherwise they might seek through addictive behaviors, like using a stimulant or cocaine or some other euphoric substance, or just through the hit that people get from ringing up a large purchase. Exercise is shown to be one of the most valuable means of coping, minute for minute, and has the most significant benefits for mood, minute for minute, of just about any behavior anybody can do. And you can do it conceivably anywhere at any time. But unless it's one of those things that you need to do and get on a regular basis, it could become forgotten about, and the addictive or compulsive behavior could be the most natural thing to do. So those are 5 of the ways that you can cope with triggers so that you're not inclined to resort to horrific behaviors that could wind up getting you in a bad place. And now, that being said, if you are someone who suffers from compulsive sexual behavior, or what we might call sex addiction, and you live in the Central Texas area, you can call me and I can give you a free 45-minute consult that will give you an idea if I could be of help to you, because I have helped many, many individuals get past addictive and compulsive sexual behavior in particular, and others in a broader sense. But please, by whatever means you can, get the help that you need, professional or just through friends or family, so that you don't suffer from compulsions going forward, because they can be one of the most devastating experiences people have if they're taken to their logical ends and consequences. And no one needs to suffer from addictions and compulsions left unchecked. So I thank you so much for watching today. I wish you the best. Have a happy Halloween and a happy future, and I wish you the best of mental and overall health and well-being. And thanks for watching.